Grandma continued with the story of Sri Rama. Acting on Ravana's orders, the Rakshasas brought bundles of cloth which they wrapped around Hanuman's tail. They poured oil and ghee on the cloth. Hanuman sat as if motionless, but as usual, he had a clever scheme in place. As the Rakshasas watched, his tail started growing longer. Even as they attempted to cover the tail, it would grow longer, and they'd have to find more cloth to cover it. Finally, all the cloth in the palace was used up. The Rakshasas went from house to house, collecting cloth to tie around the ever-growing tail. They even had to demand silken robes from each house, hoping to accomplish their task. But even then, Hanuman's tail continued lengthening. Some of the citizens were almost naked, as they barely had enough clothing left to cover themselves. Unni laughed merrily, visualizing the scene in his mind. Grandma laughed along with him. Finally, the Rakshasas gave up and decided, let's not waste any more time wrapping cloth around this tail. Let's just go ahead and set it on fire. Just as they held the flame to the oil-dipped cloth, Hanuman slowly retracted his tail so that only the cloth was set ablaze. The Rakshasas tied him up with a rope and lifted him up, thinking that they would parade him around the town. But Hanuman was too smart for them. He immediately shrank in size, leaving behind the ropes binding him, kicked and killed his captors, and jumped up to the roof of a house. He then started leaping from roof to roof, setting fire to each house with his tail. Before long, Lanka was up in flames. Splendid homes were reduced to ash. Flames rose up to the skies. Lanka was being engulfed in fire. Hanuman spared the home of Vibhishana, who was a devotee of Sri Rama. The wailing of the Rakshasa women filled the air. People ran helter-skelter to save their lives. Many were burnt to a crisp. The Rakshasa women started cursing Ravana. They held him responsible for such death and destruction, which they attributed to his abduction of Sītā Devi and keeping her captive in Lanka against her will. Even huge trees succumbed to the flames. There was uproar everywhere. The Ashoka grove where Sītā Devi sat remained untouched. His task complete, Hanuman made his way to the ocean and extinguished the fire on his tail by dipping it into the water. He went back to Sītā Devi once again, prostrated before her, reassured her that Sri Rama would definitely save her, and bid her farewell. He then leapt up high to cross the ocean. As he did so, he let out a huge roar to let Jambavan and his monkey friends know of his impending arrival. His friends realized that Hanuman had succeeded in his mission and started jumping around happily. Within seconds, Hanuman landed on the top of the Mahindra mountains. He shouted out loud and clear, "I saw her! I saw her! By Sri Ramachandra's blessings, I saw Sītā Devi!" He then came and stood before them. "Not only that, I met Ravana and spoke to him personally. Despite my advice, he became arrogant and tried to kill me by setting fire to my tail. I used the fire to burn up the whole of Lanka. Come on, let us go and give this news to Sri Ramachandra." The overjoyed monkeys hugged and kissed Hanuman. All of them started together to the abode of the Lord. As they were hungry, thirsty, and exhausted, they entered the Madhuvan forest on the way there and ate fruits and honey to their heart's content. They chased away those who came to scare them off. This was a territory protected by Sugriva. When his servants sent word to Sugriva that a horde of monkeys was ransacking his forest, Sugriva, instead of anger, expressed happiness at the news. He informed the Lord that Hanuman and the army of monkeys were returning after accomplishing their mission. Otherwise, they would not have dared to enter the Madhuvan. Shortly after, Hanuman and the others reached Rama and Sugriva and prostrated before them. Hanuman humbly recited to Sri Rama all the events starting from his leap across the ocean. He placed in Lord Rama's hand the precious crest jewel that Sītā Devi had entrusted him with. He told him the special words that Sītā had asked him to share with the Lord. Hanumān then described the meeting with Ravana and how the meeting ended with his tail being set on fire. He narrated how he had burnt down the proud city of Lanka, after which he had bowed down once more in front of Sītā Devi and then leapt back across the ocean. Hearing the news, Sri Rama was overjoyed. He said, "O Vayuputra, no reward from the whole world can sufficiently compensate for what you have done." The Lord embraced Hanuman again and again and blessed him. Hearing this glorious story about Hanuman, Unni exclaimed,
Grandma, Hanuman was so brave. How did he not get scared facing those Rakshasas and Ravana? Even when they were trying to burn his tail, he found a way out.
Grandma responded, "That is because of his unparalleled devotion to Sri Rama. He never wavered in his faith. He was always sure that the Lord would protect him. Have you heard the bhajan that the Swamis of our ashram sometimes sing? Shri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajaman Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam. Singing the name of Sri Rama destroys all the fears of life. For Hanuman, who was surrendered to the Lord, all fear had left him. Amma says, fear is completely absent only when love is present in all its fullness. This kind of love is found only in a devotee who has surrendered completely to God. Such a devotee lives in love. He has drowned in the ocean of love. Fully consumed by divine love, his individual existence is lost, for he has merged with the totality of love. He becomes love. He becomes an offering to his beloved Lord. Hanuman demonstrates to us what it means to give your whole heart to God. We may all think that we love God, but something small happens and we have many doubts as to whether He's really looking after us or not. Complete surrender to God can make us fearless. Unshakable devotion makes us strong so that we can face all the situations in life. Let us be inspired by Hanuman's fearlessness and try to develop some of these qualities within ourselves.